Tonight is the third Thursday of the month. That means that it's time for none other than Stan Deyo. And think about it. There's nobody in the world that we would want to ask the question about the coming eclipse, what's going on with the sun, what's going on with AI, what's going on with Stan. There's a lot going on in the life of Stan Deyo. Always is going on great things in his life. So let's get into it tonight. The Kingdom Intelligence Report with Stan Deyo. Let's go. All right, as you come in tonight, just go ahead and get it out of the way. If you hadn't already done it, smash that like button. Go ahead and smash it, smash it, smash it. If you're watching on YouTube, it's very, very easy for you to smash that like button. If you're watching on Rumble, there's also a like button there as well. Smash it there, subscribe. And if you do not follow us on Rumble, real quick, let's get that out of the way. Just go to rumble.com/Larry Ragland, rumble.com/Larry Ragland. As I said, it is the third Thursday of the month. And each Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time, you can see the four men that we have on the Kingdom Intelligence Report breaking down the news of the day and the things that are going on. Paul Begley, Ricky Scaparo, Stan Deyo, and Mark Carell. But tonight is Stan Deyo. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. The crowd is going wild as they always do. Yes, they love Stan Deyo. How you doing, Stan? Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too. It's almost spring here. We're quite pleased with the way the gardens and the orchard going, and so yeah,
that's great. So you're ready for the coming apocalypse. You've got your EMP Shield. You've got your solar backup. You're growing your own crops. Come on. Whatever happens, the Deyo house is ready.
Well, we think so. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Stan, let's just get right into it. I'm just very interested in your idea of what you think, and it may not be anything. It may not be a big deal to you at all, but the fact that we've got, I know it's a big deal, but what do you think is going to come as a result of the Great American Solar Eclipse? It's going to happen on April 8th, and just a few days away from the time of this airing of this show. If you're watching on replay and the eclipse has already happened, it's still good to hear Stan's input on it. But Sandy and I are actually going to go to Arkansas, and we're going to be there for totality, and we're going to see the entire 4.5 minutes. But now we're being told there's a comet that's going to be seen possibly by the naked eye, a devil comet. It's got horns. It's going to be possibly visible during the eclipse. Then a few days before that, I found out just this week, we have a lunar eclipse, or at least a 90% lunar eclipse. So all that's going on in the next few weeks. So what is your feeling on that?
Well, I look at this, the positions of the planets and stars, et cetera, all the time. Unless it's some sort of a time clock that I don't know about, I don't think we're going to see any major events just because we're seeing an eclipse, because the sun and the moon are basically where they normally are in space. It's just our attitude to them on the surface of the earth. Now, having said that, I do know that positions of the moon do affect tides, and they do affect earthquakes. And so I will be interesting to see if we had a bunch of earthquakes, in particular off the coast of Oregon and Washington in the Juan de Fuca Plate. Well, this is the article from the Daily Mail in the United Kingdom. It says an underwater volcano off northwestern U.S. could blow in weeks as 300 mile-long stretch is hit with great swarm of earthquakes. I'm just going to push on that to play it. Now, this is in the Juan de Fuca Plate, which is, we know it's overdue for an over Richter 9, maybe a 9.5 earthquake. It's about 60 or 70 years overdue statistically. And because of these earthquake swarms occurring there, the USGS is very concerned about it, right? As they should be. But they can't come out and say officially, we think it's going to happen, because if it doesn't happen, it really discredits the USGS. So they leak it to the newspaper, they leak it to people like me, and we tell people, okay, this is our opinion. And that way we can warn people unofficially for them to get ready for possible large tidal waves coming from that earthquake that's going to happen there, or tsunamis. I've looked at a lot of those things here. Let's see if we can get that picture bigger for you here. Just give me a second. There we go.
Wow.
How's that? Okay. Now, in this recording here, they're showing these earthquakes, these green dots, as they're appearing off the Oregon coast. And that's really in a spot that we don't want it to happen. We are being stimulated by a volcano underneath the water there at 16,000 feet down, about 3 miles down. It's becoming active, and that's dangerous because that's allowing large amounts of magma to move in that fault slip zone there, which could lubricate the stuck, a plate that is. Let me just get back here to you.
And that is outside of Oregon, in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. Let me see. I can probably show you that here as we keep talking. I'll bring it up. Okay. Yep.
So we're talking about underground, an underground volcano off the west coast of America is what we just looked at, and you're saying multiple earthquakes have happened as a result of that underwater.
Yeah. I'm going to get my Google Earth up here for you, and I'm going to show you where we're talking about. Okay. It's let me just put north upwards there like we go. Okay, and I'll share that with you. Now this is Oregon and Washington. Right here, this Juan de Fuca plate, right in this area, is where all these earthquakes are occurring. And in fact, if you look closely at the mud bottom here of the ocean offshore, right out across from Grants Pass, you see that there's been erosion of water flows and cracks in that area, and these are where the volcanoes are. This is something we've been knowing was probably going to happen, at least the earthquake. But this is a serious situation, and it may go, the tidal wave when it occurs may go up the Columbia River a ways, and because of that, it being focused into that small area, it may cause the tidal wave to go inland, along the riverbanks. So it's going to be a problem, no matter how you look at it.
So what do you?
To me, that's probably more of a threat than the moon. Sorry, go on.
Wow. Okay, and that, of course, that's going to affect the plates. That's going to affect the things that are happening there in California. You're always hearing about the big one coming. Do you think the big one that you hear so much about that's coming one day in California, is that going to be a combination of multiple plate lines, multiple volcanic things happening to bring a great earthquake? Or are you a subscriber to the thought that there's going to be a great massive earthquake that everybody talks about, the big one that's going to hit California? There's even some people go so far as to say it's going to separate California and take it to the ocean. I mean, in your studies of the maps and the underground, all the things that you're talking about, do you feel like this is building towards that?
I do. And, it's like people ask me about when are the aliens going to show. I say soon. It's a hopey joke, hopey soon. But I think that we are seeing the beginning of this, and there will be earthquakes all around the planet, I think, as a result, once this starts to converge or, release the lockup there. And I think, possibly this at the time of this eclipse, it may be a timing thing that somebody set up there in the heavens, or there may be some direct effect because of the tidal wave, the tides formed by the lunar presence over us. Again, cause and effect, not sure, but I hate to say that about the eclipse because I wouldn't think that the eclipse is going to have that big of an effect unless it's the position of the moon at the time.
In my opinion, I think the eclipse, the whole deal about the eclipse is more of an emotional thing. It's more of a mental thing. People are just going to be in a mindset that if something does happen, whether it be a terrorist attack, because now I'm hearing more and more that intelligence is saying that some sleeper cells that are here in our country there's information, intelligence coming out saying that they're thinking about doing some things during that eclipse. Because people's hearts are going to be so afraid anyway, and that's going to seize on this opportunity. I think it's more of a mental thing. I'm with you on that. is that, I do believe it's signs. The Bible clearly says there's signs in the heavens and the earth beneath. So I do believe that it is a huge sign to the body of Christ that, you start thinking about all the things, it passes across 7 cities named Nineveh. You start thinking about it makes an X from 7 years ago right across the middle, and the X just happens to be in a particular city that's called Little Egypt, and it's just crazy. And I don't know if you knew this, Stan. It enters America at Eagle Pass. It enters America at the place of the border crisis. That is the first place that it enters the country. So all this stuff that's going on in the border, all this kind of stuff that's going there, that is absolutely the entry point of America. So I do believe whether it is tied to whether it's going to trigger anything else, geological period in the solar system or anything, it's a sign that things are winding down. I truly believe that, I know that you're a student of prophecy, and I believe that, if there's nobody studies the heavens like you, and I know you've got to be seeing there's just all kinds of signs pointing us to something huge is about to happen in the spirit realm.
And the physical realm too. Look, I mean, you were mentioning Eagle Pass. We've got probably 1 million illegal aliens that have come in from China, South America, from the drug cartels, from Russia, from Iran, here in the country already. And all they need is to be organized and to have weapons. And I'm sure that the leadership for this army that has invaded us is here now, getting them organized to start attacking key infrastructure points for the United States, power grid, gas. And if they shoot off an EMP pulse before they get busy with all their stuff, that over the United States, that's going to cripple all of these local SCADA devices that control the gas, natural gas pressure to homes, which will cause homes to start exploding and catching fire. There are just a number of ways that they've got things to do in our food supply, energy supply, water supply that are going to create chaos.
Wow.
So we're at war. I mean, this government, I say lightly, in the White House is such a pain. They couldn't be doing this in truth, to be trying to run the country peacefully and to, take care of Americans. This is an invasion, and Biden and his administration, the Democratic Party, they've been invaded by the Communist Party, and we are not in a socialist situation. We're in a communist takeover situation that is going to get messy. We're going to have, shots being fired. We're going to have a civil war over race, color, money, the border. You can name a number of things. And so people are going to be sick to death of it. And when things start to happen here as far as terrorist attacks, we're going to see anarchy strike the country.
Yes.
And let's face it, if we do nothing, if we do not storm, Washington and physically take over the business of running this country properly, we're going to be screwed. They're going to take us down. And we've got just a few months at the most left before they're going to enslave us all.
Yeah.
And I mean, this stuff that they did in, where was it, New York or somewhere, where they were saying to the people there, look, we've got so many illegals here, we can't afford to keep housing them, so we want you to open up your homes and take them into your homes, and these families, and that's what they did in Russia. For the Communist Revolution, they took people's homes that had several bedrooms and stuff, and they just started moving in the peasant invaders or whatever troops into it and said, you will take these people in and you will follow our directions. And this is where we're going.
Yeah, and then just the last thing on the eclipse and pigtailing on what you're saying, the chaos that is happening in our world and in our country is unprecedented. And then, I don't know if you heard this, Dan, but just starting this week, several of the cities that are in the line of this eclipse have declared emergencies. They have declared state of emergency to activate emergency powers. And there's even some cities that are getting alerts saying, make sure you have batteries in your flashlight, make sure you have food and water in case and it's like people are going, why am I getting this about an eclipse that's going to last 4.5 minutes? Why are they telling us this? it's like some people are trying to leak out and prepare that some people who have bad intentions are going to take advantage of this heavenly, while everybody's looking up, they're not looking around. And it's just like, because you and I both know the closer we get to election, the crazier and the wilder this world is going to get to try to stop this election from happening. So all that being said, I just got this feeling in my gut that 2024 is going to be a year, even though we're already 3 months, almost 4 months into it, I still don't believe we've even begun to fathom the things that we're going to have to go through and see in this year.
Would you like to help us build the big picture, family? We're on a mission to wake up the world to what is really going on. All you have to do is go to our website at LarryRagland.com and make a one-time gift, or you can become a monthly partner. Any amount is a blessing and an encouragement to us. While you're there, make sure you get a copy of our book, I See Greatness in You. Browse our merchandise store, connect with us on our social media links, and join our mailing list. We appreciate it. And remember, we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake.
Did you see on the news about President Trump? He went to like 300 institutions or something to get funding to pay the whatever it is, the fee, the deposit of hundreds of millions, and nobody will back him. Nobody will take credit for it. And so the prosecuting attorney general, whatever, and the judge there, what they're going to do is they're now going to seize his properties to pay that fine, and they're going to sell them for cents on the dollar. They're just going to destroy President Trump. Now, this is not right. And it's going to get blood boiling in a lot of places, and rightly so.
Yep.
Oh,
and then this is how they play. And then you got to understand, think about this too. I don't want to spend the whole show talking about the eclipse, but the week of the eclipse the day of the eclipse is April 8th. Well, that weekend, April 12th, I believe it is. It's the 11th or the 12th. This movie that I've talked to you about called Civil War, that pretend scenario about a vigilante president who refuses to cede power and leave, is now by force in his third year, and he has turned the U.S. military on the citizens of America, and there is a civil war being fought. And in the trailer, it shows them shooting missiles from planes at churches and all this. There's no way that this was not planned to come out in April, leading up to the election. All this talk about, how they blew up that stupid hoax about the bloodshed. There's going to be bloodshed, and everybody's talking about bloodshed. And he was talking about the car industry. The bloodbath. The bloodbath. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, the bloodbath of the car industry. But they just twisted it, and everybody ran with it. Why? Because they're trying to stoke fear. They're trying to stoke fear because, the truth is Donald Trump is hated by the deep state and is hated by the powerful elite. Not saying he's not one of the powerful elite either, but for whatever reason, they are bound and determined, as you said, to destroy him. And I got a feeling when you start looking at the eclipse, and then you start looking at the other things, the movies that are coming out, the program that is coming out, it's shaping up to be a year like we've never seen. I just can't get away from that.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree with you. There's so many things happening, coming to a head at the same time right now, and it's requiring action on the part of the citizens of this country before the November elections.
Right.
And this is this is just not good.
Well, you said earlier, and I want to go on this. You mentioned the UFO disclosure, that how the chaos of this world is just setting up for this false Messiah, this alien Messiah, and all of this situation that's coming up. Because while all this is going, there's more and more talk about UFOs. And I read an article this week that several of the U.S. intelligence and former military people who's retired now that's talking about this, they're saying things like this. I'm going to read this one headline. This is from the Daily Mail. Forget UFOs. I'm going to throw this up here and see if we can show this right here. forget UFOs. Alien hunters say that we should be focusing on unidentified submerged objects, USOs. I mean, are you familiar with that term, USO, underwater?
Oh yeah, it's just a UFO underground or underwater.
Okay.
We've known about them for years, but there's a big under ocean facility, a base for them off the coast of California. Anyway,
so you're saying right now on the Kingdom Intelligence Report, you're saying you know of an underwater base for alien beings, interdimensional beings, whatever you want to call it, underwater off the Pacific coast, off of California.
Yeah. What's the big island there, right off the Catalina? Okay. It's very close to Catalina and out just slightly in the deeper water. But there are so many sightings of the USOs coming out of there and going up to the Tic Tac video. Those were coming from that area. Now, strangely enough, that you mentioned this, this Sunday was my Patreon meeting with my patrons, so the third Sunday of the month. And one of our new members, she's only been there for the last episode and this one, she said, I don't know if you folks can help me. She says, but I took some videos with my phone out on my ranch. She's about 67 miles west of Fort Worth out there in the boonies. And she said, I saw the darndest thing fly in the sky right over my truck. My dog whined and everything, she said. And now on my show images page, if I'm going to, I guess, if you'll click on slide 51, can you do that?
All right, hang on one second. All right, I've got it up here. Now explain to me what we're seeing here.
What you're seeing is this bright light that looks like it's got two lights, but it's really kind of a reflection of the main object in there from inside this field it forms. And you're seeing it form a smoke ring looking thing ahead of it.
Yeah.
And, the lady said, look, this is the darndest thing. She says, I see them around 9 o'clock in the evening. And I said to her, can you get more shots like this? She said, oh, yeah, they're here that frequently. Wow. And as I said, her dog started to whine because he was hearing a frequency she couldn't hear. Now, we discussed this at the Patriot meeting, and one guy said, look at this. If you're a sci-fi buff, you know when a spaceship is fixing to go warp or into a tunnel, they open up a space ahead of them like a realm like this. And we were able to see in the video, you can watch it too, that this little tiny red and white light that seems to go straight through the hole there, the smoke ring, and into the bright light.
Do you have the video on your show images or just
click on slide 49?
Slide 49. Okay, here we go. All right, so I got the video now. You want me to go ahead and play it?
Yeah, go ahead and play it. You'll see a kind of red truck edge of it here. That's what she's shooting it from.
Okay.
It's around 9 o'clock, just 2 weeks ago. Now look at that thing up over the tree. She's going to zoom into it in a second to get a closer look.
Wow. Is it stationary?
Now, no, it's starting to move.
Okay, I see it now. I see it.
In I don't know where you are, but about 14 seconds into that.
Okay, 14 seconds, and we'll move back to 14 seconds. Okay, that's 14 seconds. Right.
Can you see in that bright light, can you see to the left of it that little white star-looking thing?
Yes, I do.
All right, now just back up just a couple of frames, and you'll see that it comes right through the smoke ring.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm going to look. Yep.
And now start playing and watch that spot.
Oh, what? It went right through it.
Yep. Now keep watching. Here you have this bright light. You have the smoke ring. You have these lights. And see that light there is blinking like a plane would. And now then watch this. It's just going to suddenly just fade out. The smoke ring is gone now. And the actual bright light, she's just tracking it, and it is fading out to nothing. It doesn't zip away or anything like that. It just fades away. Another blinking light to the left of it, which...
Look at that.
Look at that, yeah. So...
That's crazy. And she's saying that she sees these every night.
Yeah. So I I looked around. I thought,
It's gone.
hey,
It's gone.
where does is there a military base nearby? And surprise, surprise, 67 miles to the east in Fort Worth at the Joint Research Base for Army, Navy, Air Force. You have all of these guys there with airstrips and everything else. And I got to tell you, the alarm bells go off in my mind.
Wow.
It must be something that our guys were aware of or were doing. But I've never seen anything like that. I mean, it didn't just zip away. It just seemed to open up a place in the sky and just disappear.
Oh my goodness. It did. It did.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally saw the light go through that. And it's just like what you said, what the other gentleman said. It's like in the movies. It's like opens up and then
Yeah.
closes.
We're going to go warp 5 or whatever, open up a window for us, and down off they go.
Or even a portal to another dimension. Who knows? I mean,
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was crazy.
This is the coolest thing I've seen as far as UFO films and stuff. It's at least we know where to go to film it. She's doing that now, and we're going to get more pictures in as she gets them.
Yeah, we need to get a powerful HD zoom camera and get it to this lady because we need some zoomed in HD quality video of that. That's insane.
But yeah, she's just a farmer lady that raises horses and cattle and stuff, and she's getting elderly. But she's a very bright, agile elderly, let me tell you. And she's all alone out there. So she's out in the boonies, and so she has time to put trail cameras out and watch these lights. And she's got other stills that we've got of different kinds of lights near her trail cameras out there. This is a hot spot, and I think it's probably in fact, you mentioned that might be a parallel dimension. We are warned in the Bible that the veil between us and where the demons live is going to thin, and we're going to see these things, these critters, and this may be part of that.
And you got the things that happen with CERN, and now China is getting ready to unveil one that makes CERN look like a playground toy. It's so massive and big. I just read about it today, and it is just insane. And it's doing the same thing underground there. They're trying to just find particles of the God particle, further evidence, and all that kind of stuff. But you and I both know that they're tapping into something. And now you have this kind of video here. And I think too, it's more and more not just that people are happening to find these things. I want to get your opinion on this. Do you think a part of the disclosure, a part of the rollout of this whole mentality that's going to be told to us that we were seeded here by aliens and all this kind of stuff that you and I have talked about so many times, do you think part of that process is they got to start showing you more, where they used to blur things out or they would keep you from videoing it? They need more people to have video evidence to prepare the public for, these things are real. There's something really going on. Do you think that's all a part of the plan, or do you think it's just
sure. It is part of the plan. Look, they can't just come out and say, well, we're going to tell you the truth now. They want it to be dragged out of them, like they weren't conspiratorial. They were just trying to save us or whatever. And, this is such a clear, video. It's much more than the TikTok video was.
Yes.
The thing is that we're going to see things happen in the world that will make people say, if they're out there, will they help us? And one of the things I'm seeing is that we're going to have a nuclear detonation over the Middle East somewhere, probably over Damascus. And that situation over there is really coming to a head. And Saudi Arabia is now siding with Iran, and it's telling the Gaza terrorists, you better stop now because we'll help you get a two-state solution. And so they're going to use the Abraham Accords, and they're going to force this on Israel. Well, Israel has no choice but to defend itself. It knows where the nuclear missiles from Iran are being stored in Syria, at Damascus. There are at least 8 sites around there that we've seen. And they're going to have to nuke it with at least a 750 kiloton nuclear bomb to get them all.
Wow.
And that's going to happen. I mean, Israel's already been blowing up, aircraft have been going in and blowing up centrifuges and other processors to make nuclear weapons. And, when the Iranians say, oh, Israel's bombing our sites, they are out of defense, because Iran has said, our mission is to destroy Israel. We're going to Jerusalem and take it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean,
from the river to the sea, that's what it means. I mean, they want it completely gone.
I'm going to tell you this, so that river to the sea statement they're using is going to come back and bite them in the butt, because if you look at the decree that God gave to Abraham as far as his land, it's from the sea to not the river Jordan, but the river Euphrates. And they're going to take a big chunk out. Yeah. So they'll get it. And
I literally just preached that Sunday at our church. I'm preaching on Joshua going in, and when he began to tell Moses and then began to tell Joshua again about the dimensions, he starts with the river Euphrates. And I was telling our church, I was like, all these people talk about pre-1967 borders and all this kind of stuff. Let's go back to the original. So the original it goes all the way into Iran. Okay, Iraq, Iran, it takes it all in. The whole massive Middle East is technically, biblically, Israel. So, they need to back off.
They do. I can't remember where it was, but it's probably about 8 years ago. I think Netanyahu, somewhere around that time, coined a coin, and there was a map type thing on the coin. And it showed Israel as the biblical decree was on that coin. I thought, wow, okay.
Wow, that's bold.
Oh, yeah. In the Hebrew, when they mention the river Euphrates, it's called Ephrat in Hebrew. And in the Genesis account, they were saying Ephrat, Ephrat. And you think, why do they repeat it like that? And it's because in the old times, the way they pluralized a word was to say it twice. Two pieces of the river Euphrates. What you know about today, which goes up in the Levant and through the gates near Turkey there and down into the Persian Gulf. But the other part of it went through the Mediterranean along the coastline and into Egypt, or at least into the Suez Canal, one of those two, either into the land in those two places. And I'm just telling you that it's interesting about boundaries, ancient boundaries. We wouldn't have this trouble if the British hadn't broken them apart like that and stole one guy's property and given it to another. Anyway, sorry.
And nobody ever talks about that, but you're exactly right. You can't understand what's going on now if you don't know that part of history. And that's just the bottom line. And so, man, wow. So okay, so let's transition then to Israel. You are a student of Israel. You're a student of the makeup, the geography of the Middle East. Obviously, you've studied Saudi Arabia extensively, rediscovering the Garden of Eden, many different things there. Your feelings on who the Antichrist is, who is going to possibly be, and so forth. And now you have, right in the middle of it all, you have this war. Well, then just this past week or so, in the past 2 weeks especially, Hezbollah is starting to get more and more involved. And from what I've been told from people that has intelligence on the ground, that Israel is now moving forces, now that they've moved all the way down into the lower part of Gaza. Now they're already relocating many of their military to the northern section. And from what I'm hearing, they're getting ready to assault Hezbollah. And as you just said, they're also going to deal with the nuclear potential of Iran and other things. So what is your gut on where you see the short term and say sometime this year and in the coming few years, what's going to go down in Israel in your opinion?
Well, I think very rapidly we're going to see a conflict in the Middle East between the Arab nations surrounding Israel and Israel defending itself. The world planners, that includes specifically Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, because he's become a bromance type buddy with Mohammed bin Salman. The two of them have been moving hundreds of billions of dollars around the planet, funding various organizations. Now, Mohammed bin Salman this week released about 8% of their holdings, the Saudi Arabia's holdings in Aramco, the oil company there on the coast of the Gulf of the Persian Gulf. And because he's doing that, I don't know how many billions of dollars or hundreds of billions he's releasing from the Aramco, but he's putting into the public trust fund that Saudi Arabia has, so that he has his hands on it. He is now going to get financed to finance whatever he wants, war, terrorism. And when you say people here are frightened of various things and being made fearful, that's what the definition of terrorism is. Whoever's doing that to us is a terrorist.
Yes.
And so now, Jared Kushner, I had this up last month, an interview with him, where he outlines what they plan to do with Gaza, they being the globalists. He and Saudi Arabia are the big guns there, and they are going to see that Gaza is returned to the Gazans, the Palestinians, and they're going to say that we're going to set up a civilian government there of proper people, not terrorists, and we're going to put billions of money, at least $1 billion to start with, into reconstructing and forming a new government for the Palestinians, and that includes the West Bank as well. I don't know how they're going to have communication between the two unless they have a treaty with Israel or whatever, but that is already a fait accompli. They are already getting ready to sign up a number of the 41 other Arab nations around there into the Abraham Accords. And the way they do it, each country they get to sign the Abraham Accords, they go into them and they look and see what problems they have with people, parties, money, whatever, and they draft a business plan to solve their problems. And if they'll just join with the group will help them with trade and commerce and whatever and solve their problems. Now, Jared Kushner is a bright young fella. I think probably brighter than Saudi Arabia's Prince Mohammed bin Salman, but Mohammed bin Salman is smart in another way, militaristically, and how to move people and how to punish people and whatever. He's cruel at times. So between the two of them, one of them may be the Antichrist or the false prophet or whatever. But right now, they form the elephant in the room for controlling not only the Middle East, but the whole world economy through energy. Just amazing.
Well, let's just use your words, elephant in the room. Okay, how about this elephant in the room? He's the son-in-law of President Trump. So, okay, he has said, this is what I've heard, him and his wife have said they would not be a part of a second administration. They would not work in there and all of that. But come on, that's still family. So let's just do a hypothetical. President Trump wins in all the polls. If it's a fair election, it looks like he's going to go back to the White House. And if he does, do you think Jared Kushner is going to actually be a part of maybe even like a ghost negotiator? Is he going to be involved in a Trump administration? And do you see Trump, the orchestrator, him and Jared Kushner, mainly Jared Kushner of the Abrahamic Accords? Trump was the face of it because he was president when he brought all that together. Do you think he's going to go right in and say, Jared, let's finish this Abrahamic Accords? What do you think is going to happen in that when it comes to Israel and Trump and Jared Kushner and Bin Laden? I keep calling him Bin Laden. I can't say his name.
MBS.
Yes. So what is your feelings about that with the potential of a new Trump administration and all this is going on with Jared?
Well, there are a number of factors that play on my answer. We are at a point of anarchy from the invading forces here in this country. It's going to be destroyed as a major defender of Israel from within. It has been already, I think. So what President Trump does here is probably not going to be as important as what Jared Kushner does. And Jared Kushner and Mohammed bin Salman are going to probably tell President Trump, considering he gets back in, this is what the game plan is, and we're in charge of it to just follow our lead. And then, of course, America will be destroyed from within so that the Middle Eastern Arab countries can say, okay, the big Satan has been destroyed, can't defend Israel, we're going for you.
Wow.
Now, that might be before or after a nuclear detonation in Damascus. I mean, let's face it, if Israel attacks Damascus, or if Damascus just suddenly, spontaneously, some of the missiles they've got there explode and destroy it, whatever. I mean, Israel will be blamed for it. Then the rest of the world is going to say, oh my goodness, this is the end of the world if we start this. We must form a peace treaty with Israel and the nations around them, and perhaps the nations of the world, so that we don't get them so mad that they use more bombs and start a war that will destroy us all. And this is their game plan. It's a well-structured business plan where they put dollar values, and deadlines, and on how that country is going to run, how this country is going to run, how all of them run as a conglomerate. And Mohammed bin Salman has 41 nations in a combined group to fight terrorism, anti-terrorism, right? All those nations have signed, and he organized it, and he appointed the general in charge of it. It's an army to destroy terrorists. But oh, surprise, surprise, their definition of terrorism is not what ours is. It's those who are against Islam. And they've just sneaked it under the rug, and everybody's over here asleep, drinking their lattes and arguing about wages or whatever. And those clowns over there are eating their lunch.
Yeah, I saw a little meme that somebody made. It was just perfect. It said, wow, look what China's doing. And it showed this video of just thousands of Chinese elementary kids all lined up, going through military training and learning how to fight. Then they showed Russian schools, and there was teaching young boys how to box and how to be men. And then it showed America, and our kids were walking through, LGBTQ pride flags and trans and drag queens, teaching them. And it was, the whole purpose of it was, they're laughing at us. They're laughing at us. The whole world is preparing for some global event while we are so distracted. We're the most distracted nation in the world. Our military is woke. Everything is it's at the lowest military preparedness since World War II. Russia and China are both triple and quadruple producing ammunition in comparison to us. China is putting out brand new aircraft carriers, brand new submarines, all of this, while we are cutting our military budget. It's like, the whole world doesn't really even need to invade us. We're taking care of ourselves. We're taking ourselves out of the picture.
We are.
And from the intelligence that I've been told, and from people that are very well connected, have told me that without a doubt, China is preparing for World War III. They are preparing to go to war with the United States, and they are waiting. They're just sitting back and laughing at us, and they're waiting for us to get even further in this election cycle. People are going to be so tore up about Biden and Trump and all of this, that's when he's going after Taiwan. That from what I understand, somewhere around September, maybe October, he's going for Taiwan. And because he just feels like, there's no way America's going to stop us because they got too much to worry about. They got the election to worry about. And so I don't know. That's part of what I'm feeling, that is, this movie Civil War coming out, all of this. There's just a stoking of just fires, trying to work people up towards creating. And it's sad, but I just feel like people in America, American politicians, American businessmen and businesswomen, billionaires here, are literally doing the work for China. They're doing the work for Russia. They are destroying us from within. And then you got the invasion on the southern border. It's just like, if you don't have God, if you don't really know who you are in God, if you don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, who is the ultimate peace speaker, I don't know how you make it.
Would you like to help us build the big picture family? We're on a mission to wake up the world to what is really going on. All you have to do is go to our website at LarryRagland.com and make a one-time gift, or you can become a monthly partner. Any amount is a blessing and an encouragement to us. While you're there, make sure you get a copy of our book, I See Greatness in You. Browse our merchandise store, connect with us on our social media links, and join our mailing list. We appreciate it. And remember, we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake.
I don't know how you survive. I don't know how you, even physically, but I don't know how you emotionally and mentally can survive what's coming if you don't know who you are in God.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I remember that there's a Chinese warrior. He wrote, Sun Tzu, he wrote the rules of war. And one of the things he put in that format, in that book about waging war, was if you want to win, what you do is you get your enemies to fight each other and to destroy each other, and then you walk in and pick up the pieces. Now, China has got Russia kind of on an energy hook at the moment. And then Taiwan is going to go back to China. They'll probably take it back. But then they will say, United States, Russia, Arab nations, Israel, you guys fight amongst yourselves. And when you've absolutely beat each other to death, we're going to come down to the mountains by train into the Middle East and take over the oil fields and the world. Wow. So that that attack was outlined by Sun Tzu. You're doing it right now.
And wasn't there a book too? I'm having a brain freeze here. The 1,000-year plan or the 100-year plan or something like that, where it was the Chinese was, and maybe it was the Russians. I don't know, but it was a communistic mentality. Is they're in it for the long haul. That they knew they could not overturn capitalism on its own, democracy, republic, like we have here, on its own. So they had to seed it and take generations to do it and use media and use images and all of this. And now we have this AI now. Now you got AI that's so incredible that there's just more than just the average human, but even an expert eye cannot hardly even tell the difference between real and fake now. How easy it will be not long from now, if not even already, for there to just be a video created of a terror attack happening. That's not even happening. That's not even real. But yet it ignites so much fear. People turn on themselves and people run into the streets and start storming people's houses. I'm not trying to fearmonger here. I'm just trying to open everybody's eyes. This is the plan of the enemy. Jesus made it very clear in John chapter 10. He said, the thief, the devil, he comes not but to steal and to kill and to destroy. Let's make no mistake about it. You cannot play with the devil. The devil is not your friend. He is not anybody's friend. He has a plan, and he's working through these communistic nations. Ladies and gentlemen, big picture audience, listen to me. Get your house in order. Joshua said, "As for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord." And you're going to have to make a decision. I'm telling you, there's some things coming in 2024 in the heavens, in the earth beneath, in politics, in finance, across the board. You're going to have to know who you are in God. Your thoughts on that, Stan?
Oh, I agree absolutely. Probably the most important message we have in shows like this is that you can be saved out of this. If you're alive when this is going to happen, I think the rapture will take all the believers to safety. So there's good news, but there's a little bit of drama in between times. The New World Order is all evil, and they are just totally turned loose now on the population. I was thinking when you were saying that, about the war and everything, that we are going to be wiped out here, those of us in this country. But when Jesus was talking to the bride, to the church, one of the things he did say was, "Come out of her, my people, out of Babylon," right? And I think we're probably Babylon. We've got the mixed races and religions here. But he didn't say, leave Babylon and go to some other country. He said, come towards him. Come up out of Babylon. He's going to catch us up, and that's the good news. But the bad news is that so many people don't realize what is happening yet. So they're not going to have a lot of time to make that decision to join. Yeah. They have to go through a lot of the tribulation period. Have you ever thought that beast computer everybody was talking about in Brussels? Remember when they were talking about the beast?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Beast, give AI to that computer? Good Lord, that's a beast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've thought so many times about the scripture in Revelation where it talks about the image of the beast and it talks about the Antichrist. And just before he talks about it, he causes it to speak. this image, causes it to speak. He says something profound. He basically puts a call out to the world to have a part in the input of the creation of this image of the beast. And things are, that never made sense until now. And when you read it now, you understand without a doubt, this has to be AI. AI is going to be involved in the image of the mark of the beast. So many things that when you became a believer all those years ago, when I was raised in church all those years ago, we heard all this stuff and we believed it. We believed it, but we couldn't fathom how is this actually going to happen. Now, if you have a brain at all and you're open to the Word of God at all, you can't fathom how it's not about to happen. It's literally, evidence is everywhere that the Bible is accurate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You and I and folks like us have tried very hard over the last century or so to alert people to the value of the Bible. It is a historic document. It is correct. And these events happening now should prove to anyone that doubts it that it is an accurate foretelling of what was going to be happening now and in the near future. To trust it. I mean, that's why I found the Garden of Eden out of the Hebrew, to prove the Bible was an accurate document. Yes. Or the tale of Atlantis and the fallen ones who bred with our women that, formed the legends of the Greek gods. This was to prove that the information we got out of the Bible, or are getting out, tells you it's an accurate historic document, and it was put there by the mind that created our whole universe.
Wow. Yep, our Creator is real, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to tell you something. If you don't know Him as personal Savior, if you've not invited Him to come into your heart, why don't you do it tonight? Why don't you just right now just cry out to God, repent of your sins, ask Him to be Lord over your life, and go to bed tonight or wake up tomorrow, whenever you're watching this around the world, with a peace that you didn't have when you started this show. And a lot of things that's been talked about on this show has probably scared you. And it's probably some of you that are uncertain about who you are. Well, let me just tell you, when you have a relationship with God, you can handle it. You can handle it. And here's what I want to tell you. There's no plan B. God chose me and you to be alive at this time. Not to be scared to death, but He chose us in His infinite wisdom to know that we're going to be alive, and He wants us to be His hands and feet in this moment, and His voice. And Stan, you've been a voice for so many years. And Sandy and I love you so much. We appreciate everything you've ever done for the kingdom of God and continue to do for the kingdom of God. And I want to show this real quick. If you want to learn more about his ministry, go to standeyo.com. And when you go there, you can see the show images page that he talks about so much, that we use so much. And all of the things that are on the show images page are incredible. Archives of his shows. You can get copies of his books, get copies of his DVDs. You can buy the EMP Shield. And by the way, if you want to prepare your house for an attack of a possible EMP, whether from the sun or a weapon, all you got to do is click down below in the description, because Sandy and I are distributors and affiliates with EMP Shield, and you can buy it right there from it. Several of you have done that, and we appreciate that, preparing your house for it. It's hard to believe, Stan, we got just a couple of minutes left. What a show this has been. Any closing remarks? Because in a matter of days, we're going to see an eclipse. You're going to see a devil coming. We got lunar eclipses coming. We got wars and rumors of wars. Stan, give us a positive, affirming word.
Well, let me tell you a funny story of my partner, Tim. Years ago, he was a volunteer fireman in Kansas, and he was out putting out a fire with the other firemen. They had backpack water, jackets and a wand, and his job was to go along the fence line of this ranch where the fire was and put out the fire on the fence post. Well, he ran out of water on the last fence post. Otherwise, he was going to have to turn around and go back up the hill to the tanker and refill and come back and put out that. He said, "What can I do? I'm out of water." And he said, bright idea. I need to take a leak anyway. I'll take a leak on the burning post and put it out. And this is my bright partner, Tim. Anyway, he learned real quick that there was an electric wire running through that. No. And it went straight into him through a certain part of his body.
Oh, my
And I
goodness.
think that was when he first decided we need an EMP shield and a high voltage shield because we got to protect the important things.
Oh my Lord! That is what a way to end this awesome program with a laugh like that. That is an amazing story, Stan. I appreciate you so much. And if the Lord willing, and we ain't been raptured yet, we're going to have you right back here again the same time next month, and just helping us learn more and more about what we need to do to prepare for the future. So, Stan, thank you, and tell Miss Holly, Sandy, and I love and appreciate her as well. And thank you for being on The Big Picture.
Thank you, Sandy. Get well quick.
Thank you so much. To the Big Picture audience, I want to say thank you for being a part of this particular program. If you have not smashed the like button, what are you waiting on? Go ahead and smash it right now. If you watch it on Rumble, you can do the same thing. Hit that like button, hit the follow or subscribe wherever you're watching this, and share this video. If you're just finding us tonight and you've never been a part of one of our shows, let me remind you that every Monday night, Sandy and I do a 2-hour news show. This is me and my wife, Monday at 7 p.m. Central Time, The Big Picture Live. We cover breaking news of the day. And every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central, I do a verse-by-verse Bible study right here. And last but certainly not least, we want to thank all of our partners that have decided to partner with us and help us in all that we're doing at The Big Picture. We love you so much. We thank you for joining us on the Kingdom Intelligence Report. And we want to remind you that we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake. See you next time. God bless.